us tonight to talk about kind of whatever we want to, but we're basing it on the ideal that every life has a call, every life has a purpose, and how do we navigate those rough waters sometimes to find out what that purpose is or what that call is. Today I have, why don't you introduce yourself? That'll be fun. Let's break her in. Introduce yourself. Tell us what you want us to know.
Hi, I'm Olivia Collins. I met Miss Nina at Harris-Stowe State University my freshman year, and since then she has guided me spiritually, and yeah.
She's one of my spiritual babies. Not a baby anymore, but fortunately for me, they like to hang around or they disappear and they come back. So
glad to be back.
Yeah, and glad to have you back. We are going to have a good time tonight. Again, Rosa Sharon Ministries is the overarching agency, and then we have Make Your Life Work Project and Yes to God. And we keep those, we try as much as we can to keep those two entities separately. This production is for Make Your Life Work Project. What we're trying to do is just bring people in front of the camera so we can talk and we can share and we can grow. Right? We always talk about who we belong to and our faith, but is our faith being exercised in the completeness that it should be exercised in? Okay, I'm through preaching. It's the preacher in me. Let's get started. So I'd like to start by asking you, I'll tell you what I do. I'll do it the way I do it most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
I'll let you pick the first one,
Okay.
and then I'll surprise you with the other questions. And this is not an interview. I want to be sure that I say that this is a conversation, and so we will support each other. If she sees me drowning, she's going to jump in, and vice versa. Thank you, Valerie, and thank you to our extraordinary videographer from Grace Photography, behind the camera.
I'm gonna do number 5.
Okay, I'll read it and then you can answer it.
Okay.
And I think I welcomed you guys, but if I did not, let's say it again. Welcome. What would you like your friends or others to remember most about you, and why?
I would like them to always know that, I would like them to remember how loving I am.
Okay.
Like, I would hope that, like, if they think of a few people that love them, like, for sure it would be me. That, like,
That's
the
good.
love that I show
That's good.
people.
Okay. Not that it would be, I wouldn't say it's bad, but that is really good. So why? Why do you want them to remember that?
I feel like some people have a, like, hard time, like, thinking of people in their circle of, like, who really have their back.
Mm-hmm.
I just like to be remembered that way. Like, Olivia really, like, encouraged me no matter what I was going through and things of that nature.
Okay, so I'm going to hold my second question because you just made me want to segue to something. So do you think that, because the ability to love is not, everybody doesn't have that.
Yeah.
You know, especially to love selflessly, right? So do you think that ability is tied into anything spiritual for you? Or do you think you practiced it and learned it and mimicked it? What do you think about that, since we're talking about?
I think it comes naturally most times as far as, like, yeah, I think it comes naturally, at least for me, as far as it being spiritually. I think it, along the way, teaches me how to learn boundaries and, like, how to not, like, use my love to bulldozer over, like, into people's lives. Because it was a quote that I seen on Facebook the other day. It was like, you know, you can kill a plant by, like, watering it too much, and, like, even though it's like good intentions, it's
you can
not
drown it.
right. And so sometimes, like, that's where I have to learn, like, you know, you can love people from, like, a distance up close, and just it can be spread amongst wherever.
And that's good because, you know, my spirit said you're taking a life when you take too much of them. So you leave them with a zero life, right? Because it's dependent on you. That's good. So have you ever thought that that is a gift? Have you ever seen it that way?
I haven't thought about it that way.
Because some people actually have a hard time loving. You know, they weren't raised in a loving environment.
They weren't based off survival.
Yeah, or they just become selfish because the world has been good to them or whatever, and they don't know how to love unselfishly. So maybe we should explore that. That might be one of your gifting, one of your spiritual gifts. Okay, so let me. What was I going to segue to? I know you said that. Okay, that's the other thing we are trying to do. It's not just about purpose. It's purpose for a reason. I have this image of life, right? And I feel like, and I believe, that we all have a lane.
Yeah.
And the more people that operate in their lane, the better life gets for everybody, right? The problem is a lot of people don't buy into that, and some of the places and people that are supposed to teach that don't. You know, they teach this humongous concept that we have to all try to grab a hold of and learn.
Yeah.
But they don't teach who you are. You know, that's what we say, who you are, why you are, and what amazing things you can do.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think once you know that you have something, you don't get jealous of what I have,
Yeah.
you know? And sometimes you see how they can be unified. That makes
Empty is
sense?
definitely the thief of joy. I understand.
Absolutely. So that's my passion. I think as long as you know me,
Yes.
it's like somebody said that to me, and I joined the ministry. They said that to me, and I tasted, and I was just thirsty. I had a pastor one time that was just, come on. I know you want me, and she touched me. And I hit the floor. You know, she said, I know you want me to pray for you. That's what she called.
Yeah.
She just touched my forehead, and I hit the floor. So I did. I was drawn to that because not only for me, but I think that is one of the things that can make it a better world.
Yeah.
You know, if you're in your lane, you can't run in my lane and your lane. Makes sense?
Absolutely.
I figured you'd agree with that because you are very astute. You are very. I have found you to be very. I want to say old-minded, but in a good way.
Like an old soul.
Old soul, right,
Yeah.
right. Like spirit-led and spirit. You know, you understand how spirit moves.
Mm-hmm.
Am I hitting? Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Because sometimes I forget I'm talking to a young lady. I'm like, this is the old woman I'm talking to. So let's segue to that. How do you feel? Let me see how I want to ask that. Did you ever come to a realization that there was something different? And you know what I mean? Not just the normal, every child is different, we know that, every
Yeah.
person is different, but something that was propelling you to do things and say things in the proper way and in the spiritual realm that was different about you.
I just think it was my upbringing. Like my family, I grew up in the church. My dad was a pastor, and my great grandfather was a pastor. And so I think just being around in that environment just soaked in as a kid. Like I was just always head in the clouds in a sense, but like not in a bad way.
No,
not
I know
in
exactly
La La
what you're saying,
Land.
right.
And so I think as I grew older, it just started
Like
to
a
make
natural
sense.
progression, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
it
Is
started
that,
to align as I grew older.
you say, oh, I see why those are my parents.
Yeah.
The thing that and it's funny because as you're growing up, that's the thing you complain about doing a lot. You know, I always gotta go to church,
Yeah.
And then as you age, that's the thing that
You appreciate
allows
it.
you. I just had a vision of somebody coming from under the water.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Just it makes you not drown.
Yeah.
Basically, that thing is the
I was-
one to keep you afloat.
Do tell my friends that like that's something that I appreciate, that like my parents, as strict as I felt like they were,
Mhm.
there was definitely God's like hand over my life, because I could have been derailed into God knows where. And so I do appreciate them.
She's talking to her. So my next question then is, how do you think that you might show up differently? Because I guess it's twofold, because of what you know, and also, what would you say your purpose is in a nutshell? Or can you say that? Are you ready to say that? And you're in a place where you can say that?
I'm not too positive
That's
as far
okay.
as my purpose. I do feel like it has something to do with sharing God's peace with the world.
Okay.
I feel like it's attached to my name, like represents olive, but olive is the
Yeah. Mhm.
plant of peace. I do feel like that's just kind of what God puts me on this earth for, to
Okay.
like help others be grounded and connect with Him. And so,
And I think for me, the beautiful thing about religion and that kind of thing is that there is no war.
yeah,
You know what I mean? That there's like I said, there's Yes to God and Make Life Work Project. That's not because there's a war. That's because it is necessary for us to keep those two things separate. But we're talking about spirit, so spirit overrides them both.
right.
You know, so I think when you can meet people there, you get more people that are interested.
Absolutely, you get to the root of who a
Right.
person is.
Absolutely. Okay, you ready for another question?
Yeah, let's do it.
I think I can read it, but. Oh, I like this. I'm wearing this question out. I think I've asked this 3 times. If you had 2 wishes, what would they be? That's the first part of the question.
Okay.
But let me tell you the second part so you can make sure you. I don't want to set you up. One of them must be helpful to the entire world,
Okay.
and one can only be helpful to you, your friends, or your family members. And I'll
Okay.
hold this in case you need me to
But they
refresh
have to
your-
be 2 separate wishes.
2 wishes, right? And one can only be helpful to, one has to be helpful to the entire world. The other has to be helpful to you, your friends, or your, so one of those 3 categories.
Okay. I think think my first wish for like the world would definitely be like access to clean water, hot or cold.
Interesting.
It's something about being able to cleanse yourself inside and out, whether it's drinking water or washing yourself.
I like that.
Then you can feel much, much better about yourself. Like I think that's just the key. Like
that is true though. That's good. That's good.
That would be my gift.
She said, "Wash yourself inside and out."
Okay.
Okay. Good. That's
for
good.
my friends and family.
Or it's for you, your friends, or your family.
Okay.
So you can take a minute. Yeah, take a minute.
For myself, I think it would just be a sound mind.
It's just one gift, though.
Just
it's
one? Yeah.
See, that's the tough part about it. It's one, and it has to go to you, your friends, or your family.
Yeah. I'm going to be selfish for a moment and say definitely a sound.
You'll be honest.
I'm going to be honest.
Give it to me.
Please. It would be a sound mind, like to just be able to, like, at any moment, if I'm overthinking, to just everything go mute.
See, that's what I've always loved about you. You move in your spirit. You know what I mean? Most people will say, "I'd like to have $2 million," or because they're thinking about how they can help themselves and help others. But say what you said again. I just want to make sure I heard it.
I just would like to have a sound mind. Like whenever I start to overthink, like I would just love the ability to just be like, "Oh," and it's just quiet. Like.
So you do. I'm sure you thought. So tell me how that was going to help the world, because that's going to help the world too. So tell me.
To be able to like execute the things that I feel like I hear. In my spirit, like there are things and times where like I start to overthink, like, oh, I don't know if God said that, or I don't know if like that's truly what I'm supposed to do. And so I feel like if I have a quiet mind, I'll be able to like zone in on the things that I really want to do that are in my heart and soul.
Okay, I think that's the first time somebody said a sound. Everybody else going for the money or the fame. Because you can get money and be crazy.
Yes.
I mean, it can drive you crazy, and then you wish you had made another wish. So it's not, everything is not relatable to that.
Yeah, I'm not money driven though. Like as much as I wish I was at times.
That's funny.
You know.
That's funny that you said that, because I was thinking over my life. I'm not dead, but thinking over my career and how many positions I left.
Yeah.
Right. I've probably left more good jobs than people. It's like year 4, year 5, I conquered, I'm out, right? And just by grace, I could get a retirement from the state, because I ended up, my last job was with the state. But I was thinking, why didn't you just stay at one of those good, nice jobs? I mean, it was a lot of stress, but it was good, I had people I could boss around, all the good things we want in the position.
Yeah.
So I'm like that too, I guess. I'm like, I don't mind closing the book, because I'm not afraid of what is opening. Not nervous, but not afraid.
Yeah.
So I've probably had better jobs than people have ever had. Collectively, I've had more good jobs than some people that had one.
Yeah. I don't know. I just think my mental health matters way more than like what a dollar can buy me. Like I can't take it when I'm gone.
And when I'm done, I'm done. If I'm giving you 120% and I'm only on 110, I go to 105, it's time to leave.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. That's funny. Okay, so tell us about you. I know sometimes we don't think we're interesting. But tell me, so what kind of work do you do, and why are you doing that by choice? Or are you doing that because that's where you ended up? What are your dreams? What are your ambitions? I shouldn't say ambitions, because I don't like that word. What are your desires for your life?
Right now, I currently work at a courthouse over in St. Charles.
Oh wow, okay.
I work in the criminal department as, so it can get
just gonna lay that right there.
It can get interesting. I don't want to say it was by choice. It definitely was kind of something that I stumbled into. Previously, I was working at the hospital as a phlebotomist / clinical assistant.
Right. Okay.
And I don't know. I kind of.
So you said it wasn't something you chose. It was somewhere you ended up.
Yeah.
Can you make any connections between your being there and the necessity for you to be? You know what I mean?
Like, what do you mean?
Have you had an aha moment that said, "Well, I know what I'm here for"?
Oh, I think I set the tone for the office.
Okay.
Like
see,
people.
That's what I'm talking about. And purpose is fluid.
Yes.
In May it may be one thing, and then in July he may say, "No, I want you to shift your focus to something else." I think we all have underlying gifts that are they're static, that stay the same. But I think in terms of purpose, we are used as we need to be used.
Yeah.
There's something in us, whatever you call it, soul, God, peppy long time, whatever you want to call it, right? that dictates how we use the gifts and the talents and the stuff we have.
As far as career, I definitely think that's kind of like, I don't know if I should say a gift but it's definitely something that like is common wherever I go. Like as far as customer service, I set the tone. Like when people come in and they're all
I
like
believe that.
in a frenzy, I'm like, well, hi, good morning. Like let's slow down and like let's figure out how we can like solve the issue. People come in having a bad day, like I'm able to like lift their spirits up even if it's just a notch.
That's good.
I try.
And I think too, because I am kind of that person. I remember when my mother was staying with me and we would go shopping. Everywhere we went, she'd look around talking to somebody to go straight. No, talking to somebody or talking to somebody a lot.
Yes.
And so that's why, again, that brings you back to purpose. That's why understanding who you are and why you are is so important.
Very.
Because you don't compete anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You understand your lane. You understand all those things about you that might irritate other people. You know, she's like, you talk to everybody. I can't help it. I mean,
It's just in me.
yeah, it's just a very natural reaction to somebody standing next to me.
Yeah.
So that's again, that's why my whole platform is purpose, 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 purpose. I don't care if you're an atheist, purpose.
Yeah.
What do you know your purpose? You know what I mean? So whatever you call yourself, you have purpose. You were designed with purpose, and it gives you peace.
Yes.
So that's interesting. Okay. Do you have any questions for me?
At this current time, I don't.
Okay. You don't have to. I just wanted to make sure because I talk a lot. So. Okay. I also brought my questions for the soul.
Okay.
I bought these books when I first started the ministry, and we used to use them on like retreats or, we had classes after we got out of our session, so we would use the book and I would just open it and begin to ask that question. Mm-hmm. I'm really good at that. I do that with the word too. I just open it and wherever I end up is usually where I ended up. At the end, I know I'm supposed to be there. Yeah. So, because it gets overwhelming. That's the other thing about the pursuit of purpose or pursuit of your position in life or the pursuit of what you're supposed to be doing, anything like that. It can get really overwhelming if you think of it as a destination. I spent a lot of my life thinking of it as a destination.
But it's a journey. It's filled with ups
and
and downs.
Yeah, absolutely. I can say that again because I
side quests.
Exactly.
Like,
exactly. And it's sometimes it's the thing behind the thing. You think it's the thing you're doing, but it's the thing behind that.
Yeah.
That's the most important part. So I think that's why I'm just a stickler for everybody. And then you stay in your lane. Mm-hmm. If you're in your lane, you don't have to worry about what I'm doing over here unless you need to compliment it or I need to compliment what you're doing. So absolutely, I have, ever since I heard that word applied to spirit, I'm like, oh yeah, let's get it. let's let you do that because that way you're more comfortable. You don't have to worry about what I'm doing. Okay. All right, so let me ask another question. Wow, okay. I'm not going to answer that. That's too much. Okay. Oh, okay. If you were to define what true personal freedom is, true personal? Did I hit you? Well, you can decline. Find another question. What would it be?
True personal freedom?
Exactly. As an individual, your true freedom.
My true freedom.
For you, yeah. Or what you think. I mean, you can answer for you, or you can say, this is what I think that answer would be. So I'm assuming you're answering for you because we're trying to get to know you better. So let's do that.
I think my true personal freedom would just have to be being able to kind of like live authentically. Like not having to be forced into a box or forced to play a role. Like I can show up as myself in the morning, whether that's at 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock, and just...
I mean, my sister.
Yeah.
But I have a follow-up question, though. So what if the coffee goes off at 9, and everybody comes in at 11 every day? The coffee can't be served.
For me, that's kind of like that. That's them being true.
Yeah.
I'm comfortable with that. Like if I've had to learn over the years, people are going to show up how they want to, not how I want them to, not when I want them to. And so like.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I just want to be able to like literally wherever the wind or God blows me, that's where I go. Like, and not have to be stuck.
We're so opposite. It's like everything get loud. I'm like strategic. I'll raise something over and over and over again.
I want to be with the wind. I do like just.
I have an older sister who is like that.
Really?
I love her so much. And there's some parts of that I'm like, wow, I wish I could be that relaxed. But that is just not me. I'm type A, get it done.
Yeah.
You know, I have notes all over the house. It's just, yeah, I just.
I have them, they're
Be
just
quiet.
stuck somewhere else. Like,
That's
I
interesting.
write a note and then like I done forgot where it is by the time I came back to the room. It's
Well, me too, but I still have the confidence knowing I can find my note, right? So because I'm like, what is that saying? Everything has a place. Oh God, and there's a place for everything. That's one of my sayings. I have a lot of them. And I tell people that I think I was supposed to be an engineer. Because my mind,
school for engineering?
I didn't. I changed my mind.
Okay.
I went to school for public relations and journalism.
Gotcha.
Well, public relations and journalism. But I think like an engineer sometimes. So I think that's why I did so well at MODA. You know, my brain operates in art. Yeah. When there's not chaos, it operates in art. I hate when things are totally out of place. I just like, why would the towel be in the chair? You know,
I don't know. Like, even at work, things are falling apart, and I'm just like as calm as a butterfly. Like, okay, it's fine.
That's a gift, though.
Okay, it's fine.
I'm like, fix it. But you know, having a spiritual foundation has helped me with that.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I'll ever get over it. I don't think I'm supposed to, because I think, again, we're all in our respective places. Yeah. And sometimes, you know, I'm the one that pushes a little. Say, well, let's do it. You know, let's do it. Let's do it 100. You know, let's do it 90. Let's do it 99. And it just kind of depends on what it is. But I am learning how. I'm coming to the realization that the world's not going to fall apart.
Yeah.
If I'm not there at 6. Right now. But my preference is still to be there at 5 minutes to 6. That's interesting.
I sometimes do have like a slight panic when it's something of my personal goal. I start to become overwhelmed because it's like, this is something I really want. And if I don't get it, I start to get a touch impatient.
So you like a brat? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Don't put your head behind your ears. Simple yes or no.
I would say yeah, a little bit. We ain't got to work it on it, but yeah. I will go slight in a tantrum, but it's okay. We get over it, you know.
So I want to know more about that perspective, because this is helping me with my older sister. I'm already on my way to better in that area, but I'm just not that. I'm not like, okay, let's just show them what's in there. No, we're not going to do that. Yeah. We're going to talk about the roles we're playing in the meeting. Or, you know, when I first bought my house, I was very particular. And she's an artist, she's very artistic. And I said, don't do anything on my, I forgot what you call those things. You know, they're in the kitchen and it's like
the island?
Yes.
Okay.
Like, do not paint on my island. So I came home early and painted on my island. Oh. And it just took me to 20 real quick. And it's on a scale of 1 to 10. You know?
I would probably need 5 seconds to count too. Like,
but I think what the problem was is not that she was on. It was my control of situations. You know what I mean? It's always the thing behind the thing. Yeah. And I think that for a long time I was comfortable controlling situations. I still do a little bit of that, but I'm getting better. So I wouldn't say your approach is too bad. If I can get in the middle of that,
right, somewhere in the middle is always.
That's interesting. I knew that though. Because every time I see you, I see my sister.
Oh,
accidentally.
Well, I'm glad you love her.
It's a good thing. Yeah, it's a good thing. And that's the whole point. You know, that we need a little bit of everything in order to be in the spaces that we're supposed to be in.
Yeah. And
to do the things that we're supposed to do. I think the other thing I want to talk to you about is the challenge of the pursuit of purpose. For me, I just said what the challenge has been in the past. I think I get frantic when I don't know if I'm where I'm supposed to be doing what I'm supposed to do.
Okay.
And instead of just resting in that place, you know, I'm seeking the answers all the time. And I think not until like maybe 4 or 5 years ago, I think, did I finally ease up on that.
Yeah.
But that's that type A in me. Just I don't know. I hope it's not just wanting to be right. I hope it's wanting to be in the right place or doing the right thing. But it used to just keep me up at night.
I definitely have my moments. Like the closer I get to my birthday, sometimes I have like a slight like like
Like
snap of
to-
like realization, like, oh my goodness, like, you know, it's been a whole year, like, where are we doing, where are we going? Especially this year, I'm like,
I
I'm
know what you're saying,
like,
that's exactly what it is. What am I doing? What did I do last year?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then like, I don't know, something like it comes and then it goes, because then it's like, I mean, I can't harp on it. Like, I kind of, some situations are like, this is your situation, you kind of have to just work through it. And then other things are like, if you grab it by the horns, like, you can just yank it to where you need it to. And just taking a moment to kind of sit down and just write it all out. And if it makes sense, it makes sense. If it doesn't, we pray about it and we move on. Like,
Sometimes it's just difficult. Like I
Yeah.
said, I've left a lot of really good jobs, and when I look back, I have mixed emotions. Sometimes I say, "You stupid," you know, and
I think
sometimes
that's
I'm
right.
really glad it was time.
Yeah.
You know, so that's the trick to
I think
figure.
that is definitely like kind of the downside of like when you do move on, you kind of like look back and are hoping that you made the right decision, but like you can never know because you can't go back and
Right.
live that out to see.
But you know what I try to do is I put my passion beside my purpose
Yeah.
and my positioning. So sometimes I can say, oh, it was time to leave that place. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not all the time, but often I can do that because I know that if I had not come to St. Louis, I wouldn't have published my books. I wouldn't have, met all these great people. I wouldn't have got on this whole thing about purpose and positioning. Yeah, absolutely. You know, I would not have. That's a funny story. Everybody in my family knew him and me.
And I still think that's just so
Isn't
funny.
that is so funny. That's why I know purpose is a part of everything.
Yeah.
You know, I already know we're going to do ministry together, and so does he. So. Come in and have a seat.
Right.
Yeah, so that's why, I mean, I talk about it all the time. If you look at any of our, and by the way, for a plug for our Rosal Sharon, we have videos on YouTube. We're on Facebook, and what's the third one?
Make Your Life Work is on Instagram as well.
Instagram. Thank you. So check us out. Just go like us, even if you don't stay for 5 minutes. I think you'll get stuck on it though, and you'll keep coming back for more. So we've been busy. We've been around. Ooh, I want to date myself for a minute, and I did it screaming and crying. I'm trying to think of what I said when Valerie knows it, but we'll just let it go. But I was not interested.
Really?
And I remember that the lady that some kind of way got assigned to me, she would say, "What are you here? What are you here?"
But why didn't you want
Delphine. because I was scared and it was different.
Yeah.
You know, I was the first one in the family somebody to ever say, you have gifts and talents, you this, you know, I didn't know any of that. You know what I mean? And I wasn't a holy roller.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I wasn't a heathen, but we were raised in the church, but I had some issues with the church, and I didn't even know that I could have my issues.
And still.
And absolutely.
I got you.
Absolutely. So that's the other one of my agendas. You know, I believe that when they say come as you are, you come as you are.
Yeah.
And you don't have to come to the church. You just have to come to where your faith takes you to and live out what your faith has dictated.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's, I just wanted to say that because that's who I am and that's what we're talking about. We're talking about doing what you need to do to get where you're supposed to be. And I think that we fishbowl it, and it's not a fishbowl. It's where you led.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't sit on the corner and say kumbaya every day.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
They're variations of how you get there, I guess.
Yeah.
Do you believe that, or?
I do.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you that with you. I forgot.
It's okay. I do think that I feel like God can meet you on just about any path. Like He will come and find you. I was introduced to God, and then when I felt like I had a period of time I kind of walked away. I always still believed in Him, and I was confident that He had covering over my life. But I wasn't as close with Him or talking to Him, and I feel like He kind of like tapped me on the shoulder when He was like, "Hey, you know, you don't have to be distant with me. Like,
Right, exactly.
you're welcomed." And so I do feel like He can find you wherever you are in life.
Yeah. And I think there are some people that believe, I think my sister believes this, that He isn't, or she or whatever, isn't everything. Right?
Yeah.
And so all through my ministry, I've never dictated what they have to believe.
Mm-hmm.
you know, because I think that when you find that is for you, you'll be like I am, like you are. You'll be so excited, you'll want it. So I don't have to feed it to you. I don't have to tell you what the rules are. I don't have to stuff it in your face. I don't have to say,
You're gonna seek you for it.
Right. Even things like time, I don't have to say, give me some money to help you, because I am in it 100%, because I have had that experience. So yeah. Okay.
So I trees and all that, like he breathes on Earth just like he does in space.
That is what you mean, my sister.
We could definitely do it. Quick little FaceTime.
Yeah, you remind me of her a lot, though. She's a beautiful person, though.
Mm-hmm.
I just have issues with having just a little bit more control, you know, in life, and you know, I just like things in art. I used to, when I first moved back home, I was like, there's a place for everything, and everything has a place, and that. And that lasted, what, 2 days. My family started visiting. My mom came to live with me, so I broke that habit a little bit. But yeah, I probably should have been in the service or something, where they fold everything a certain way. So yeah, we all have our idiosyncrasies.
But we need people like you to help us stay grounded and like with our heads screwed on tight.
Thank you. And you know, and since you said that, that is really why I like working with young adults, because I can say things to them in a tone that would offend other people. Yeah. But because they know my heart, and because they know why I'm saying it that way, and because I know that some of them need to hear it that way, they're good with it.
Yeah, that's why villages are like very important. Like I can remember who you were speaking with, but they were saying like that it is important to have all walks of people in your life. There's type A, type B, type C, people who are very strict and narrow, and people who are free-spirited, someone who's in between. Because they all pour into you differently and show up for you differently and teach you the things that you need to know.
And show you different values.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I mean, you know, where the different values lie. You know what I mean? Because we think we know. And we don't. We don't really know. We're learning every day, you know.
It's everybody's first time on Earth.
Yeah, absolutely.
Depending on what you
I don't know. But, you know, I believe it's the first time, right? So yeah, that's okay. You have any questions for me? Anything you want to say that I did not ask you? Don't be afraid. If I can't answer,
I've enjoyed our conversation so far. I feel like I'm not as nervous as I was when I first got here. So.
We couldn't tell.
Well, good.
We couldn't tell that you were nervous. Do we have any callers? Do you have any questions?
Questions?
Take a few questions?
Yes.
A few questions. Miss Olivia.
Yes.
Okay. One question was, you said that your dad and your grandfather both pastors.
My great grandfather, yes.
Oh, okay. So your grandfather?
My dad and my great grandfather, yes.
Your dad and your great grandfather.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So the thing here is, one, how many siblings do you have?
I have two.
You have two siblings.
I have two. I'm the middle girl of two sisters.
Oh, cool. That middle child. Okay, that's a whole nother story. Okay. But question, so how was life? Because you made comments in between about, not always listening. And that's the norm. Yeah. Most of us don't listen until we get knocked upside the head most of the times. Yeah. But how was it as far as with you and your siblings being raised in the household? It's almost like, being that pastor's child.
Yeah. As far as for me and my younger sister, I think throughout the years, our relationship has grown a lot.
Did you want to write it down since? Just write it down
and
pass it to her
real quick.
I'm sorry. I couldn't resist saying that.
No, I feel like I would like to think we didn't cause a lot of trouble. At least I'll speak for myself. I didn't cause a lot of trouble.
He's not gonna throw anything at you.
Yeah, and if he does, I would just duck real quick. But
did you feel any pressure?
Pressure, yes, but not. I feel like most PKs do like to feel like they have to behave a certain way in public or in their community amongst their peers. I had a lot of my friends growing up. They would be like, "Oh, their parents would be like, you're with the pastor's child. You all can't be doing this, and that." It's like, all we're doing is walking to the park. We're not gonna.
We weren't here.
And so
nobody in my family
in those manners, it was like I always felt like I was being like double, like.
Well, let me give you some relief because it happened to us too.
Well,
and they weren't
that's a
pastors.
big relief, but I definitely feel like that's where most of the pressure kind of came in at. But outside of that,
I want to follow up to that question. So do you think that, how did that benefit you? I'm not going to lead
it made
you
me
and
act
guide you to
right.
the answer.
It definitely made me act
More
right.
disciplined then.
Yeah.
She said, baby.
I always felt like, because there would be people that like I'll be walking in the mall with my friends and people would randomly come up to me and they're like, oh, you're Pastor so and so's daughter, and I'm like, yeah, like who are you? Nice to meet you. Like,
Did that carry over into
My
your
adult
public
life?
persona and your adult life? I mean,
um,
because I know you said you talk to a lot of people and stuff. Does that carry over? Like,
sometimes.
does that make sense? Like your propensity to say, hi, how are you? That'd be nice. Did that
Yeah.
carry over?
A
Was
little
the value?
bit.
Was that part of the value of learning that? That makes
No,
sense?
I think I was just always kind of like, hi, how are you? Like, I'm a
Okay.
very talkative type of person.
Okay.
Because I felt like if depending on how you knew my parents, it was still going to go one or the other. You were going to treat me however you wanted to treat me. At some point, I put in my mind that, like, I'm outside of my parents. Like, I am my own person. I'm
Mhm.
outside of who I was named after, and you have to know me for me. And so,
Okay.
yeah.
Is that going into
Is that the first time you said? Oh, I'm sorry.
living authentically?
Yeah.
You made the comment about living authentically, being
Mhm.
you.
Is that the first time you said that?
Out loud.
That's what I mean.
Out loud, yeah.
Ooh, we get confession. No, I'm only kidding.
Exclusive.
So currently, you're working in criminal department.
Mhm.
Okay, and what is your position?
I'm a court clerk.
Court clerk.
Oh, really? Okay. I think you probably told me that.
Have you utilized your employment, whatever position you're in, a career,
Mhm.
to guide others?
That's a good question.
What do you mean by guide? Like
In terms of purpose.
For example,
not
Like-
necessarily. Like, I feel like most of my friends, like, we're all kind of always, like, keeping an eye out for each other as far as, like, positions to, like, help elevate each other.
Mhm.
Like, I have a friend that works in TSA. I have a friend that I wouldn't even be able to tell you her job title. She works in, like, a higher branch of the GMC.
Right.
And so, like, we're always kind of like, hey, like, I think this would be something that you should be interested in or, like, you would fit well in. If there's a new positioning out at my job, like, I'm always quick to, like, hey, someone interested in XYZ.
But you don't have anybody that you would say,
It's, like, under my
don't do
wing.
that in court, or don't,
Oh, yeah.
that
I mean,
kinda
me and my
stuff.
coworkers, like, we talk to each other, like, we...
you're trying to act like you don't have any friends that have to go to court.
No, they definitely ask me, like, if someone gets a ticket, they're like,
That's
hey,
what-
Olivia,
yeah.
like, could you look this up for me? I'm like,
Did you drive slow?
No, honestly.
And you just take him?
Or like we heard, this is something that's not like secret or anything, that they've been pulling more people over for being on their phones and like.
Right.
I have a friend that was scrolling on TikTok and drive, and so I texted her like, hey, just so you know, yeah. So as far as that, that's.
And they did publicize that, so.
Yeah.
I was gonna say,
Some
that has
news,
been
right?
publicized, that they were going to enforce things of
That's
that nature.
good.
So-
Yeah, it's funny how you become the expert when you get a job.
Was that?
Yep.
Um,
Oh, that's your answer. That's good.
Was it good answer? I don't.
I have a question. Do you have another question?
you can go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
So one of the other things you talked about was in dealing with people. You know, people don't always show up the way you want them
Yeah.
to show up. And so how do you deal with that?
As of as of right now, I try not to take it as personally. I feel like yeah, sometimes it's case by case, but I feel like right now, like, you can only show up to whatever emotional standing you're at,
Mm-hmm.
and that it's not always personal. Like, if you don't show up for me or you don't attend something that I've planned, like I can't take it personally, like if your hands are tied, your hands are tied, versus you just directly just not, I call or I ask for you to come and you just never answer. Like those are two totally different, like learning to look past the action and look at their heart.
Okay.
And then as far as like handling my emotions to that, I have to just be honest with myself. Like that did kind of upset me, but like I know that it's not an intentional like attack against me. Like it doesn't mean that like what I'm doing or the event that I planned isn't of value to them. And just kind of reassure myself that it's not the end of the world. Like
That's good, because I'm not a heavy person of presence. I used to be, and now I'm just tapped out.
yeah,
Right. But I'm different from that. Especially depending on the scenario. If we are doing something together, if we are creating something together, I do care how you show up.
yeah,
And if you know what I mean, because if we are united doing some work, then that's different.
Oh, that's
But I think it's
totally
beautiful
different.
how you said, if it's just something that, something got in the way or something like that, I
Yeah.
don't get upset. That's beautiful.
Now you being present, like we're at the event and you're there, I do care, because it's kind of like
Okay.
if you're just not mentally there, like don't feel bad about saying, hey, like I can't do it, like I need to go home. Like I would rather you stay home or
Right.
express that you're struggling to be present versus then kind of just being kind of like you're just here and now everybody's like wondering or like they feel the energy that you're just not really wanting to be there.
Yeah, I don't know as much not wanting. I'm just busy. So
Yeah. So your mind's always.
But
on
I'm always
something else.
available. Otherwise,
Yeah.
Okay. Good answer. Good job.
And
Not
you
for
said
that
you had
one,
a
I'm saying.
question?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
I just wanted to say I love the analogy of you can kill a plant by overwatering it, and that's the same input when we're dealing with those we love.
Yeah.
Sometimes we can put too much into them without allowing them to put something in themselves.
Yes.
And that really, I find that in young adult ministry so much. I feel like I shouldn't say anything because I'm not a real parent,
Mm-hmm.
but I do. I find that, and maybe that's because that's a part of being a parent, that you do go beyond your boundaries or the boundaries that you should have.
Yeah.
Right? And that's what I used to say. I said, I didn't want kids. I fixed you all's kids. because I can do it and be I love them, but I can also do it and be very methodical.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I told you could live with me 6 months. After 6 months and one
Yes.
day, you're gone.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. So that's interesting. Okay. Well, I think we're probably coming to the end.
This was great. I appreciate you for having me.
I appreciate you for coming. I'm having a really good time. I've been able to, we've had probably 3 or 4 young adults, and people have been really, ready to come. So that's good. I'm hoping my favor keeps us moving. You did an excellent job. You did
Thank
a
you.
great job. I knew you would. You know yourself. You know where you are, pretty much,
Yeah.
even if sometimes it doesn't feel like it, right? And I knew you'd do a great job.
Thank
Is there anything else you want to add or say to them while we are still recording?
Not necessarily, just love yourself and just trust your process. That's it.
And I think on that note, I am not going to say anything else. But thank you for joining us, and we will see you
Bye.
next week on Make Your Life Work Project. Thank you.